Okay, guys, you're live.
Did you put it on Mongelli's thing?
And it's on Mongelli and Max.
Can't hear anything. I can't hear anything, Ruben. They're not on.
They're on. Oh. Oh, hold on, guys.
Others.
My bad.
So we like to sing our
They're
theme
live.
song.
My mic's now. Oh, here we
Hello,
go.
hello.
So while you guys are doing
Hello,
that,
hello. Testing. Is
while
my
you
mic
guys
on?
are testing,
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
could we
Yes.
get somebody to zoom in on the camera for us?
Why?
And I do see
Camera.
we are live here.
We are live.
And let me share to our respective
I
pages.
feel like I'm at a senior citizens
But we
comedian
are,
convention.
We are.
No, we're-
Is that your track phone? Is that the new track
Okay, so
phone?
the two of you guys were
This is
live.
the graveyard.
So would you please sing our Mongelli and Max the Funny Talk theme song?
Yeah, do the theme song.
We don't
Okay,
have
you
a
ready?
theme song.
And a one.
And a two.
And a...
Oh, we have no theme
Do we
song.
have an intro?
No.
Evan, make sure your face is, well, you know, now we're talking
I'm in
about
the
it.
camera. I
We're
see
on radio. I want people to be able to see your face.
Perfect.
So move it over to the side.
Okay. Welcome everyone to Funny Talk with Mongelli and Max. I'm your co-host Tom Mongelli.
I'm your co-host, Doug Max.
And
this
today's-
is our tri-host.
Evan Weiss.
Evan Weiss, our
He-
special guest today.
This
and that's
is
the end
actually...
of our show, guys. Thank you for coming.
Oh, we
Don't-
got a lot of letters beforehand, people asking if we were having the Evan Weiss. And this is...
Nobody was writing you letters.
No, actually, my fan, I have a fan.
Our viewers don't know how to write.
Girlfriend?
Normally, no, Inga. She normally sends me tulips. This time she wanted to know if it was the real Evan Weiss.
Who's this imaginary person?
Inga.
He has a lot of imaginary friends.
Well, how a guy's entitled to friends?
And he can't hear, so he's got all these voices in his head that he listens to.
Is this your dad who's a fan of mine? That Trump lover.
Listen, you know something? Hey, guys, can you, oh, you zoomed in on the camera already. Okay.
So anyway, before we forget, today's episode and Funny Talk with Mongelli and Max is brought to you by our sponsor, J. Irwin Productions, Jack Hoffman.
Yeah, no Jack tonight.
Huh?
No Jack tonight?
We don't know Jack. Jack Hoffman's a great guy. He produces comedy shows. He's had both Doug and I on several times, and he keeps doing it. I don't know what's wrong with the guy. But he puts on great shows, and if you ever get a chance to go to one of his shows or even to use him, to book him, to do, say, a fundraiser or a holiday party or whatever, he's the guy to go to. And
There are many comedy producers in New Jersey. Jack is one of few.
Maybe
that
put
we
in a
can-
good
we
word
can-
for me. What do you think?
Jack is. Well,
Put
let's
in
see
a
how
good
you
word
do.
for me.
Can you come on? You got 51 minutes
One
to go.
Jew to another.
We'll talk about
Even
this
the
again.
Jews don't want to hire me.
Well, have you been going to the club meetings?
Like
Everybody's
Evan's
like,
really
"Where's
not a real
Evan?
Jew. Don't
Where's
hire him.
Evan? How come Evan?
ever
Evan
since
isn't
you stopped
coming?
giving the secret handshake.
He's half a Jew. He's not.
Last time at the last meeting, Evan said he was bringing the matzo balls. No, Evan Weiss, no
I don't know.
matzo
I
balls.
wasn't invited
and you
to the
expect support from the community.
Can we finish the sponsor plug? You can contact Jack at Jack. What is it?
We're building up by doing a distraction and attracting an
We're
audience.
building
We're
up.
building up.
Building up. The,
This is going to turn into a 5-minute promo spot for him by the time I'm done
Jack
interrupting.
Irwin, right?
Jack at jirwinproductions.com for all your comedy needs. A reputable comedy producer who will help you raise money for your
And he won't rip you off that much.
for your fundraiser. He's a wonderful. He's like I said. He's one of few comedy impresarios in the state.
And he knows everybody.
He knows.
I thought he was
everybody.
part of your show last time I was here.
He comes on often.
He talked. He but he's great on the show. He knows.
Last time I was here, you had like 9 people on.
We had 9 people
You
on.
had Randy Lupo. You had Jack.
No, you were drinking that night and wearing your you forgot your bifocals.
You looked at
Or
me and
something.
thought I was
No, you
3
had-
people.
You had Randy Lupo, Jack. Who else was on?
Oh, was it Jeff Solomando?
We might have had him on
You had a
too.
lot of people on that.
Yeah,
night.
it was that's like 20 already.
Oh, we had Mike Weiss.
Mike Weiss.
Mike
too,
Weiss,
yeah.
that's right, Mike Weiss and
Because we had
Evan
the two
Weiss and all that.
Weisses.
So, welcome our international audience. Who is our international audience for? I just guess they want to learn English, proper English.
Do we have a big German population?
Doc, what countries are represented tonight?
You were
Ruben?
wearing this on your shirt.
Yeah, the
And
C
it
for
said
comedian.
Juden. No, you
It
wrote
didn't.
Juden on
You
it.
know how many
Stop it,
Germans?
Evan.
You know how many Germans we have listening? 9.
Nine.
Are they laughing at that
They're
out there?
laughing at this.
Don't encourage him. This is a comedy show. He knows what he's doing is hack. He knows that, right?
Mongelli and
Oh,
Max,
so I've-
sponsored by the Third Reich.
So all this, you're
no.
distracting me from talking, and I'm sharing it to everybody but me. I shared it to your page. I'm going to share it to mine
It's nice
for
to
my
share.
for my fan that comes to my page to listen.
So I wanted to mention one thing
What did you want to mention?
before we get into Evan
Nothing.
and
We're already
the
into it.
wonderful world of Evan. In October, Doug and I are going up to Lake Placid.
And you're getting married.
We're getting no, we're not getting married. We're going to meet Chris Costello, Lou Costello's youngest daughter, and they're going to be showing Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein in a big theater, and it'll be my first time seeing that on the big screen, and I'm excited to meet Chris. She's been on our show twice already.
Did I tell you I get frightened at horror movies?
Abbott and Costello?
Meets
Come
Frankenstein?
on, that's not a horror movie.
What about when Dracula rises slowly out of the coffin? Isn't he in that one?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah, don't you remember that?
I
Was
remember
that Bela
that.
Lugosi that
Bela
played that?
Lugosi, yes.
Are you impressed? That's the one name I knew.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
You were actually scared of those movies?
I was as a kid.
My brother used to sleep with a glass of water after watching The Wizard of Oz, so if the Wicked Witch of the West came, he could melt her.
That's good
was
to
good
know.
thinking.
That explains a lot with you.
Yes. So I think this would be a
Were
good
you
time.
raised by pansies? I'm kidding.
So, I just planted some.
No. Are you afraid of them?
I'm not frightened of them, but I hope they grow. Anyway, so I announced that we have dinner before a show,
Right.
and I told Tom and Evan that I wanted to announce my new comedy initiative.
Yes. And you're
And what-
transitioning.
And what's
Right,
that,
this-
Doug?
So I'm going to give up what I've been doing, and I'm going to make
Hold
my
the
way.
applause.
I am going to make my way in the entertainment world, possibly comedy, with what I call the Doug Max experience.
Yes.
No.
What is that?
Well,
Pinch me, I'm
ironically,
dreaming.
you guys, you're in the midst of the Doug Max experience right now. This is what it's like.
I'm experienced Ajita.
So
What do you
relax, take it
experience?
in. You're
Uh-huh.
going to do a poster for the Doug Max experience.
I'll do a poster.
Yeah. Does it seem like I'm ripping off Jimi Hendrix a little bit?
Just a little.
But you can't patent or trademark a word like.
Well, that's been done
experience.
several times. You ever watch the show Monk?
Yeah,
What was the Monk's?
Tony Shalhoub.
Right.
Yeah.
But the other cop's name, the skinny guy.
Oh yes, the Randy.
The Randy Disher.
The Randy
experience.
Disher experience.
Right.
Well, but the Doug Max experience is going to be substantially different.
What is
You know
it?
what
What is it
Randy
going to
Disher
involve?
experience-
Music? Magic?
I might end up doing some opera singing. It's really the only kind of music.
Doug
I
is
can
going to sing in 4-part harmony with the voices in his head.
You going to have tranny singers on your show?
She's going right now.
You going to have a tranny Cher singing behind you? A tranny Barbara Streisand?
Okay, this
So
is a
Evan-
family. Okay, well, one, you know, one
Are
of
you
my
going
dreams.
to be dressed up in makeup? and dress.
So I should tell this.
Doug
I-
likes that. By
I'm
the
going to
way.
tell this. I think this is a funny story. I hope my girlfriend isn't listening.
He always thinks
And
it's
I
a
hope
funny
my
story.
girlfriend's,
She's
my
not
imaginary girlfriend's father isn't listening.
I hope she's
But-
not. Oh, she doesn't even like your comedy.
So, Doug, what did you do this weekend?
So, Doug, what did you do this weekend?
Well, my girlfriend and I went to Mystic, Connecticut for a few nights vacation. It was very nice.
You didn't stay daytime.
To who? What?
It was just nights you stayed up.
They made us leave the state during the day.
Okay.
But
Today,
anyway,
Doug. Today.
what was I talking about?
Christ.
About
Making
10
people
minutes
fall
now.
asleep out
That's what radio.
This is English 101
there. How is she still
for
with
our
you?
Romanian listeners.
So you went to Mystic, Connecticut.
Oh, and it was a story I didn't. My girlfriend would be upset with my telling, which means she really wouldn't be upset about it.
Evan's really glad he drove 3 hours to get here.
4 hours.
Well, you want to
4
hear
hours.
this? But will you wait a little bit while I can remember this
Yeah,
story?
I'll wait till I drop dead.
I know I'm going to remember it. There were so many stories this weekend. where I was
Welcome to
this close
Alzheimer's
to
Weekly.
losing her.
Here's a story that I can't remember.
It's fate that I can't remember it because it's one of those.
I'm gonna fire you. Put your dad in your place.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk to him.
He also tells jokes and forgets the punchlines.
You know, if an audience laughs at the wrong place, I don't want to chance my luck by going for an
wanna,
actual
like,
punchline.
I gotta laugh. What's that?
yeah, really. That's a first.
Oh.
So he's still trying to think. So in the meantime, I just want to throw out something. The other day was National Donut Day. Were you aware of this?
I think you were the only person in my Facebook feed of 3,500 people that knew
Really?
knew that.
Well, I go to Dunkin' Donuts in the morning. I get my coffee and my 2 egg and cheese wake-up wraps. And she asked if I would like a free donut. Now, you ask a fat guy if they want a free donut, what's he going to say?
Yes.
Yes.
How many?
So she says, what kind would you like? I said, surprise me. I figured the only kind I won't eat is coconut. What's the chances she gave me a coconut one. So she ruined my whole freaking day. National Donut Day. I waited all year for it. And she gives me a coconut donut.
Well, why didn't you tell her what? donut
I
you
didn't
like?
find out till I got back to the office. It was the drive-through.
I like sweets, but it's like donuts not my favorite. You know,
Yeah.
I like pizza. Is my favorite.
I like pizza donuts.
I never had pizza donut.
Move the microphone out of your face so our viewers can see you. Okay. So, I
So
know I
anyway.
had a great story that I really probably.
All right.
Oh, I know what it was.
Oh,
I know
he
what it
remembers.
was. I remember
Doc,
now.
he remembers.
So what was I talking about? So
Why did I
so we're
come here?
driving up
I have
there.
no idea.
We're driving up there, and
I
I
ask
and I
myself
mentioned
every month.
something about
bring
my
the strippers
dream
already?
of going on stage
They're under the
as I told my girlfriend about my dream again of going on stage as Diana Ross.
She must have insomnia. That's why she's dating you.
And it made her wonder whether or not I really was like a cross-dresser, because I said, no, honey, I just think it's funny. You're the only one. No, honey, whenever I tell my comedian friends that I want to go on stage as Diana Ross, they all, wouldn't you laugh if I went on in a sequin pencil dress and
To each
moved
his own.
like Diana
Go ahead.
Ross? And
Go
right,
for
it would
it.
be funny. I would get laughs.
Blackface and all.
Well, that's another story.
Well, you're the one that picked Diana Ross.
So for those of you who aren't familiar with Evan Weiss,
Oh, Evan. Yeah,
yeah,
Evan.
remember him?
Evan. Oh, Evan.
Hi.
Hey, buddy.
When did you get here?
Welcome to Funny Talk. Welcome to Funny Talk with
We just
Mongelli
call
and
it
Max.
talk at this point.
Yeah,
Can we
really.
just put an X around the funny part?
Funny shit up quotes.
It just say fine. It should just be talk. X and the funny part.
Move the
Like
microphone.
Call it sleepy talk.
Look, this is what you look like, so move
Nobody
the microphone.
cares. They can hear. Nobody cares.
It's the radio. We
Oh
want you to
my
look
God.
nice.
It doesn't
Oh, it's Mongelli that's getting blocked. too.
Yeah.
So he's just got-
Okay.
Hey. Can you lower this like this?
Oh my God, it's like being in a nursery school
Or a nursing home.
or a nursing home.
Thank
So,
you for dinner. Dinner was excellent.
You're welcome. It's a great place, Villa Barone, Robbinsville, New Jersey. Oh, by the way,
Get
don't
them to
forget,
sponsor.
this is Hamilton Radio.
Oh yeah.
This is Hamilton Radio, and we love Hamilton Radio. And we've been with Hamilton Radio for now over a year.
Wow.
Yep.
And this is the brand new building.
This is the brand new studio. If you ever get a chance, we have a studio audience here.
Keep it down. We're doing a show.
They died.
Fred, quiet. Jeez.
Oh, see here.
Hey, Doc, what countries are listening to us? We get excited knowing what countries we're entertaining.
Whatever countries listen, the suicide rate just went up through the roof.
So, have you thought, we have many foreign listeners. Do you think we should do some, teach them some interesting English words that they probably don't know?
Like
Doug-
what?
Doug likes to ignore the domestic listeners, especially our guests. He prefer to talk about Inga from Sweden with her tulips.
Do you know any Romanian?
No. I
Do
don't
you know any?
anybody.
But you must have had a number of Romanian comics.
No.
Oh, so Evan's on the show. Let's talk to
remember
Evan.
that? Yeah.
So listen, I want to tell the first time I met Evan, I met Evan at Caroline's for a Rain Pryor show.
Yeah.
Tina Marie and I went together. She introduced me to Evan, and I begged my way on a show of his, and I got on, and I've done a number of. Yeah. Anyway, so Evan produces showcase shows at the two wonderful rooms, Broadway Comedy Club at 53rd and 8th, and the Greenwich Village Comedy Club, 99 McDougal Street in New York City. He's been doing it for, we calculated, 7 years.
12.
Yeah, almost coming up on 7 years with Al Martin of.
And then I was producing it on Long Island since like 2000, end of 2008.
And in those 7 years, you've provided a comedy stage for tens of comedians. You're probably over what, many, you think thousands now?
don't
How many
know.
shows have you done? Hundreds.
A lot,
Hundreds.
Yeah.
And every show is different, and every show, your experience is probably very
Sometimes-
similar before the show, right?
Sometimes I even like torturing the audience and have Doug Max on the show.
I have hosted, I have headlined, and I'm like, don't call me a headliner. Have you heard my comedy?
Not yet.
People are gonna be-
But if you wait, you got it. It's like a wine. You got it.
Nobody's gotten their money back
Record
yet.
it, put it in the closet, listen to it again in 15 years.
You think you'll be alive in 15 years?
So Evan,
He just glazes.
many people love you because you are.
Nobody loves me.
I love you.
You're out of your mind.
Okay, I'm out of my mind and I love you. So many people
put it
know
up
your
with
name. Many people recognize you in a crowd because you've provided stage for many comics early on in their career.
It's true.
Evan's a
And
piece of
you've
shit.
been a decent. No, you've been decent. You've been kind. You've been too kind to some comedians, but we won't mention any names. You've given people a warm, comfortable room, and I wonder why. Why haven't you ever done that for me?
You want to talk about the story a few years ago when the room was flooded out?
Oh man.
That's a great story. Go, it's your story. It was your show. What happened?
It was like 3 years ago during the summer, pouring rain. I had the show pretty much, the small room at Greenwich Village Comedy Club. It was pre-sold out. I get to the club. Buddy Flips mopping like a foot of water throughout the whole club. He goes,
Buddy Flip, a wonderful
yeah,
comic.
he moved to Pittsburgh since, but he used to.
He's been on our
He's
show.
a comic. And
He's
he's
been
also,
on our show.
Also a waiter there at the time.
When he was on our show, he said, I'll come on if it's before Evan Weiss comes on the show.
There was a foot of water throughout the whole club.
Wow.
And he goes, I don't think we're going to be able to do your show. And I'm like, I had 50 some odd people coming to the club. And I already had their money spent. And so
What? The Doug Max experience?
Experience, and we're not at that point.
experience.
Get that off the screen,
No,
people. Oh.
it's not the
They
Doug
try to
Max.
help. They try to help. They add to the comedy.
I went down the block to the Grizzly Pear.
Uh-huh.
I sat everybody. I asked the bartender, "Is it okay to do a show?" The bartender said, "Oh, kicked out the open mic." We were about to start. The owner calls up the place, hands me the cell phone, and goes, "And I don't want you to do a show."
Oh.
I go, "What do you mean? I'm going to sell you over 100 drinks now." He goes, "I don't care. Get out."
Nice.
So it's still pouring rain. I run down the block to the Village Lantern. It's when they had the downstairs room.
Uh-huh.
I asked the bartender, I had at least 50 some odd people. I got to do a show. He goes, you can have the room till 7:30. What do you want? I go, just the room. I'll give you 2 drinks, per person. He goes, all right. And then I marched everybody in the rain, and they marched the third club, and we got everybody up.
Wow.
It was really weird. It was like, it was early on in my
Oh,
career.
you were
It was-
there.
I was on
You
the
were on the
show. It's
show.
great.
Oh.
It was,
I had 50 people marching 3
Yeah,
different
it
That's
was-
venues.
usually
And I
good
had-
enough for the audience to walk out.
he was like the Pied Piper walking through Greenwich Village. Come in here, everybody sit down. Okay, everybody up, out. Debs, come on, we gotta go.
was like
We're
a
like,
cop-
what? He doesn't want to, what? And we're all incredulous.
It was like a Kaufman thing, and I
It's
didn't
like,
even
what-
plan it. Like, no, but you know what? Get up now. I know everybody's sad. Get up now. I'm not
Wait,
kidding.
wasn't there that show where Andy Kaufman took the audience for
He took
cookies
them
and
for
milk?
cookies and milk after. He put them on buses afterwards.
So it's it's torrential rain. Everybody with their umbrella, and and 50 people are following him.
It was third venue.
Oh,
Third
Jesus.
venue.
And listen, from a comedian's point of view, it was a very funny experience.
Well, then I had the comics threatening me because I ended one open mic, and then I ended the show at the other one, and then you start threatening me at the middle of the night.
Who do
I
you
was
think you
gonna-
are? I think I'm a producer with 55 people. You have an open mic with 3 comics that have been at the same open mic for the last 4 years and 2 audience members.
This is the open mic that was going to get me on Conan, Jimmy Fallon,
Oh my God.
Jimmy Kimmel. This is the one. This open mic, there's going to be industry at this open mic. We're going
I
to be
love that.
performing in front of 10 other comedians. 5 minutes apiece. This is the one that's going to make me famous.
Uh-huh.
If I pay you $5 for appearing on the show, could I then appear on one of your shows as industry?
Yes, of
Because
course.
I produced.
You are industry. You have your own show.
See that?
Does this count?
I guess.
Yes.
Why
You're
not?
industry.
And we're making the bucks.
Yeah, big
The
bucks.
buck.
The buck.
We're making the buck.
Internet radio. We have tens and tens of people. From all over
Is
the world.
anybody in the technical
from
department
Sweden.
listening to the funny talk? There it is. There it is. It's up
Doug
there.
Max
It's not.
Experience.
And
they have it
not
in
up here yet.
rainbow
It's been
color.
up there
It's
for
gonna
20
come.
minutes.
So yeah, I was announcing until Evan. I don't know who you think you are on ours. Until Evan, started talking about himself.
Sorry.
Oh, I guess I did announce the Doug Max Experience. So we talked about that. I said I only wanted 3 exclamation marks, not 5. Who does 5?
You know he's OCD.
Anyway, so listening audience, just tune in for the Doug Max Experience. You're a part of it now, whether you know it or not.
Now notice Doug Max is in rainbow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And why am I? Why? Because
In case you should break into song as Diana
Song and
Ross.
dance.
I was going to break into song right there spontaneously, but it would have been
I was going to
it would
break
have
my
been the
chair.
totally wrong song. Never mind. I won't tell you who. It would have been wrong. So Evan,
Oh, I know what you're saying.
yes. So let's see. We were lauding your praises. So you're honestly you're one of two producers that I know and trust in New York.
Who's the other one?
Don't
The
say it.
lovely and beautiful Janice Massetti and
Oh,
her
okay.
partner Gregorios Kritikos.
Oh,
He's not
yes.
as lovely as Janice,
Not nearly.
and he's really rough around the edges, but he's got a heart as big as what's the expression? As big as
Me.
Tom. A heart as big as Tom, including the stent.
My grandfather died of a big heart.
Of what?
A big heart. It was enlarged. Anyway,
Was it while you knew me? Because
Do
you
you,
know
do
I
you have a
offer-
stent? Do you have a stent in your heart?
not
No.
yet. I'm
You're working
looking
on it.
forward to it.
Working on
Tom, I've been watching that video over and over.
Which video?
The heart stent,
Oh, so you're going to do
the
the surgery?
DIY heart stent operation.
Uh-huh.
it. I'm gonna make
Evan,
a bringer.
let me ask you something. If I had a table of like three objects, one was a scalpel and another hemostats, would you be able to hand me the proper one?
No.
Okay, we're gonna. Oh, the waitress tonight was gonna be a nurse.
That's right. She's
Can you
going
put
to
it off
school.
until she gets out of
Well,
nursing
her name was
school?
Rachel. Rachel at Villa Barone. She's studying to be a nurse at Jefferson University.
I think I should be a nurse. What do you think?
When we dine with Tom, we go through, we introduce everybody at the table.
That's right.
It's a tradition.
You should talk to the owners. Get them to be a sponsor. You
He
eat
did
there-
that at another restaurant.
Yeah.
I won't say the name of the restaurant. He's chatting up the waitress in another restaurant. We're trying to talk about the show. She's coming in and giving us lines and doing a shtick, and you shouldn't attract people like that, Tom.
Why don't you get them to sponsor you and give free food?
I like the way he thinks,
What do you think about that?
but we
Yeah.
can't eat it in the studio.
No,
I think it's a
You have
great
it
idea,
before-
but I
before the
think
show.
I think I should be the one to go and approach them privately.
Sure, if they took a one look at me for free food, forget about it.
You'll put them out of business.
Okay, so why don't we just take a little break here, Evan? What shows do you have coming up? Do you know the dates offhand, or?
Yeah, I got a show this Saturday, June 15th, 6 p.m. Greenwich Village Comedy Club. Saturday the 29th, Broadway Comedy Club, 5 p.m. The upstairs room.
The upstairs room.
Yeah, July 6th, Greenwich Village Comedy Club. I can't remember the other dates.
Evan Weiss at Facebook.
Yeah, well, you can just go Evan Weiss Comedy Square, Google that if they want to buy seats. All the seats are there. Or
Google Evan Weiss Square.
Evan Weiss Comedy Square, and that's my direct ticket link. And then the owner eventually puts it up on Greenwich Village Comedy Club and Broadway Comedy Club. So
Okay, and you can take the Doug Max experience off. We're morphing out of the Doug Max experience into the Funny Talk with Mongelli and Max experience. And again, they capitalized the M.
I
and the
noticed that.
M.
Yeah. I did it the right way. I don't know why they redo it. But anyway,
So callers, thank you for your call. Keep them coming. Tom, this is the part of the show.
we have
That's the sad part of the show for me, where I ask Tom what he's doing, and he tells everybody all his shows.
by the way,
coming up.
10th caller gets absolutely nothing.
you have a show coming up?
I got a few shows coming up. This Friday, I'm going to be at the Station Bar and Grill in Cranberry. I believe I'm headlining, or at least finishing out the show. This Saturday, I'll be in Atlantic City, a place called Bory, Atlantic City, on New York Ave. I'll be hosting. Next Thursday, mic'd up at Levity Live. I'll be at Levity Live with Doug Max. We're both performing that night. And we have a bunch of people coming up. If you're not doing anything, come up to Levity Live next Thursday. Next Saturday, I'm going to be doing Homestead Rodden Comedy right off of Route 70 in Toms River, right by where I live. It's an over 55 community, and they're having a comedy night fundraiser. And I'm going to be, I'll be there. And then Thursday the 27th, this is just the June shows. I'm going to be in a comedy competition in the Blackthorn Restaurant in Kenilworth, New Jersey. So come on down Thursday night the 27th. And Friday the 29th, I'll be up in Monroe, New York with Joey Cola at Villa Positano. So that should be a great show. Joey Cola
Nice. Yeah, I know Joey.
does the warm-up for the Rachel Ray show.
Is that all, Tom?
That's this
He's
month.
just bragging.
I'm bragging. It's the only time I get to brag.
Doug, what about you?
Doug,
You have
what
any,
shows you-
Doug, you have any shows coming up?
Doug, what do you got going on?
The Doug Max experience.
I'll be making a breakfast for my dad.
Cool.
I've got, I'm gonna be a guest comedian and very funny on the Jewish comedy contest coming up on July 13th, or possibly another. We're not morphing! We're not morphing!
Would you morph for him? His head's gonna explode.
Radio people, I'm sorry. They're messing with they put a sign up that said we're morphing. Just kind of funny. If we actually did. So that's June 13th. June 20th, Tom already told you, Levity Live, really classy venue. July 21, I'll be at Tierney's. And we should mention the Tierney's Tavern in Montclair is produced by 414 Entertainment, and the co-owners of 414 Entertainment will be on our next Funny Talk. Pat and Christine Grion from 414 Entertainment will be on Funny Talk.
In fact, Pat is running the show that I'm going to be in at the Homestead Run.
Has she seen your comedy before?
Yeah, she hired me anyway.
Pat is a wonderful person too. She might even be nicer than you, Evan, if that's possible.
No, nobody's nicer than me.
Yeah, probably not.
I'm the nicest damn person ever.
Okay.
right.
So we only have 22 minutes to do something for.
Okay, do you want me to give a recipe?
Yes. Yeah. Do you have the recipe for Hall soothing triple action throat lozenges?
You don't know this, but I'm a good cook.
I would never have guessed.
I know my way around a kitchen.
Can you get around in a kitchen?
The kitchen knows its way around you.
Yeah, you know your way around anyway.
Yeah, I have to Crisco my hips. And
So what's your favorite food, Tom?
Seconds.
Evan, same question.
Thirds.
So actually, it's funny that you talk about that, because I was thinking one thing I thought we all share is morbid obesity, and we could talk about.
This is called the Doug sandwich.
We could talk about. No, I'm getting. You can see. Look at my belly.
Yeah,
Speak for yourself, but I'm in perfect shape.
round.
Right.
So how many
How do you
people do you
stay
have
a-
following you at
How
your
do you
gym
stay
photos?
anorexic?
Well, for many
Is it the
years,
Holocaust diet?
Oh,
it
no.
was don't eat breakfast and drink a lot of caffeine, and do other unhealthy things, and then you worry. Worry. You don't worry enough, Evan. If you worried,
Where you going?
if you worried, you could have a belly like that.
Yeah, I don't worry. Okay. We were talking about opening up our own fat camps earlier. Like,
No, we're not. No, don't, Evan.
Yes.
It's very funny, but it's not for our show.
It is.
It's not for our show.
Concentration camp.
I
We
know
lose a
where
lot
this
of
is
weight.
going.
We lose a lot of weight. Concentration camp.
So before the show, Evan asked me about my father, who was
He's a
captured by the
survivor.
Nazis in World
Yes.
War II. He was made a slave laborer.
And he
He
came
was
out
forced to
svelte.
he was forced to repair railroad tracks in a German winter for 3 or 4 months, sleeping alongside the road. He went into the army weighing 150 pounds. He comes out weighing 89 pounds.
Wow.
God bless him. Did they have
And
before
Evan,
and after
and
pictures?
poor Evan, who's been working for years, going to the gym every morning
And
to
I'm
lose
fatter.
weight. He's finally, you're below 300. I heard that was,
Oh,
you got
After
below that.
tonight's dinner was probably about
Okay, so you're hovering.
hovering around there.
Anyway, so Evan,
Can
I
we
don't know
use
if it
his
was
before
Evan's
and
idea.
after?
I'm sure it was Evan's idea because it's totally tasteless. I would never think of an idea like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
But he was thinking of
It
a
was your
of a
idea.
diet camp idea
Uh-huh.
And we're gonna,
based on my father's
Nice.
experience.
Can we
You
use
could
his-
call it the slave laborer. Make it nice for everybody. Don't make it a Jewish thing. Call it the slave laborer
Inclusive.
See, now-
experience.
What the hell is that?
your phone, great.
That's your father.
Stephanie.
Stop talking about me. I wanted to open up a camp for ADD sufferers, kids with ADD that can't concentrate.
The
Yeah, you can't do that kind
I
of
can't
humor.
do that.
Jews
You
can
think
do
your
that.
dad-
I have a
you think your dad be okay to use before after picture?
He-
For the camp?
we have a picture of him.
Before and
We
after.
do. We have a very happy
Join.
picture of him before enlisting as a 19-year-old in front of a brand new
You need
clean
to lose
Jeep.
weight. Join Camp Auschwitz.
And there's a picture of him
I know nothing.
after he was discovered by American. They were hiding in a barn at the time, and they heard voices, but they were English.
Hey Tom, for dinner tonight, what's on the menu? What's on the menu tonight at Camp Auschwitz?
Nothing. Why do you ask?
Nine.
Nine.
Nothing. You got nothing. All right, looks like I'm losing weight.
It's
today.
really tasteless, but I think in a temple that would be. You know my favorite story from there. You must have heard that story. I dated a woman. Still friends with her, but we saw one another for a very short while. Her father survived both Buchenwald and Auschwitz,
Wow. One more and you
and
threat.
and 50 years after the liberation of Buchenwald, where he was liberated from, she and her family went with her dad. There were 20,000 survivors that were liberated from the camp, all there for a weekend celebrating, the 50th anniversary. And one night they had this lavish banquet spread out for all the survivors. 20,000 from all over the world came. And this woman I dated is looking at the lavish spread that they had for them there at Buchenwald. And she leaned across the table to her father and said, "Dad, the food isn't so bad here." Isn't that great? And I said, I've got to tell her. She said, "You can have that." Because she actually is a Torah reader. She doesn't do comedies like that. But she did it that time. And that was like, she reports that as the funniest thing she's ever said in her life. And she said all the survivors from around were like, look, everybody was cracking up. You had to be there.
Well,
And it's not a good place to be.
I was just gonna say.
And now now she's
And now I needed-
World.
Yeah, and now I need a new girlfriend.
Who books that? I can't.
Okay.
I got this great tour set up. You're gonna start at Auschwitz, go to Buchenwald, Treblinka.
Oh my God.
Me and you, Doug. What do you think?
So to the non-Jews thinking, this sounds
This is a great
horrible.
tour.
This
I'm
sounds
trying to put together
horrible.
a comedy tour.
We could go on tour with Tom. He's going on tour.
I'm going on Lipitor.
But and that got us out of that bit. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we have Sidney Fox and his dancing horses. You didn't book. You didn't.
I thought you had him.
Doc, what countries, can somebody tell us what countries are listening to us?
Did we lose Germany?
No, we increased listenership.
So when I said this was family friendly to Evan, I think he was
I haven't
thinking,
cursed once.
well, I could do this in my family.
I haven't cursed once. Have I cursed?
No, it's
No.
technically clean comedy.
Yeah, have I cursed? Thank you.
But,
Have I cursed? I haven't talked about any double penetration.
Oh my God.
I haven't talked about strippers, coke whores.
Stripper, I don't even know her.
Yeah. You want to talk about all your coke whores in your past? When you used to be a pimp, Doug Max? Used to be a Jewish pimp back in the day.
to our Romanian listeners, Evan is listing the names of his favorite cartoon characters.
Who are your favorite cartoon characters?
Jessica Rabbit.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your favorite foods, Evan?
Pizza with pizza.
Jessica Rabbit. I used to like Foghorn Leghorn. Remember Foghorn Leghorn, the big rooster?
Oh, yeah.
The boy, I say the boy is as sharp as a bowling ball. Bowling ball, that is.
I think I used to like Yogi Bear in part because I could imitate, what was his sidekick? Boo Boo.
Boo Boo.
Hey, Boo Boo.
Well,
There's
that's
a,
Yogi.
let's go get a picnic basket. Was that Yogi?
That was Yogi.
I grew up with different cartoons than you youngsters.
Yeah,
I
You
grew
had
up
what,
with Boris and Natasha,
I did too.
Rocky
The
Raccoon,
black and white ones, right?
Mighty Mouse. Do you remember Mighty
I
Mouse?
remember Mighty Mouse.
You don't remember Mighty
Yeah, I
Mouse.
remember Mighty Mouse.
What are you, like 32?
Thank you. God bless you. I'm
'Cause you
45.
sneezed, I didn't sneeze.
His neck is 32.
45.
Get that off the screen!
What did they put?
Get it off the screen! Who's doing that?
What are they
It's
putting on
not
now?
funny!
The Camp Auschwitz experience.
That's not
no.
funny! And that's a trademark name. Abby! This is family friendly. And I've got Jewish
And
listeners.
it's not the Himmler family.
My father survived Nazi slave labor.
Yeah.
If he's listening to that, he's not going to find
That's
that
nothing.
very
Your
entertaining.
father survived you.
Let's talk about your dad being the best Trump supporter in New Jersey.
So honestly,
plays the
my
trumpet?
father owes a lot to Donald Trump.
Oh, really?
Every morning.
$1.98.
Every morning he either opens up the Times or turns on
And he says, what a great job this
MSNBC,
president is
and
doing.
he screams and he yells for like 30 minutes at the TV.
Out of
So
excitement,
Donald
right?
Trump is keeping my father alive.
So
It's
happy that
raising
he's
his
president.
blood pressure,
He's like,
which
what
is
a
low
great
after
pres-
no
he,
sleep.
he really is making America great again.
No, he's saying he's really our president.
And he's like,
It's-
thank God he's really our president.
You know, if my father had memory problems at so many that are 95, he'd get along a lot better.
You know,
but
your
he knows.
your father asked me a riddle the other day. He said, "Tom, what's the difference between a garbanzo bean and a chickpea?"
What
said,
is the difference between a garbanzo bean and a chickpea?
Well, that's exactly what I asked your dad, and he said, "Well, Donald Trump never had a garbanzo bean on his face."
Oh, boo. Is this why you're touring all over? Are you going to use this to open up
No.
Joey
He's
Cola?
done that. He's done that. That's a good line, isn't
No,
it?
but I use it in a
Our
different
president
context.
has never had a garbanzo bean on his face.
I do it in a completely different context.
Are you doing this at the
No.
elderly community?
No, no.
All the piss jokes at the elderly community.
Well, this is going to be close to Lakehurst, where I live, so I'm going to be doing some Hindenburg jokes. Half of them remember it.
I did a show in a Methodist retirement community, and it was the only show where I had the producer come back and specifically tell me that they specifically didn't like me. They specifically didn't like every other comedian on the show, too. That was gratifying. The one comedian that they liked, I told you the story. The one comedian that they liked, 5 minutes before the show begins, she says, by the way, this needs to be general, like the cleanest, this needs to be clean comedy.
Clean comedy.
He Googled on his phone
Oh,
clean comedy, and he's reading jokes. You
Right
know,
off- right off the
he's
internet.
reading
Who did
jokes.
this?
The comedian who was their favorite that night.
Who was the favorite?
I'm not going to say his name
Well, if they did good.
because he doesn't deserve it. He did good, but he Googled. He read
He's
from his
sitting right
phone.
next to you.
Would you
Come
give
on.
up his name, Tom? It was.
It's your story. I
weird.
don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
They're not listening. Just say the name.
Yeah, nobody's listening.
Nobody's listening.
Well, ironically, his initials were SS.
SS. Oh, very good. SS. He was very funny. Yes, he was.
I opened with something like, I was so proud of the people. It was a Methodist retirement home. So I said, I'm so proud of
No,
you
it was
people.
a methadone clinic.
That was my joke. I said, I opened by saying, I'm so proud of you people. When I heard I was going to be here at a Methodist retirement community, I just thought, at a Methodist community, I just thought how great it is that you gave up heroin, and methadone is certainly a much better path for you. Blank stares, like nobody.
Yeah, that's funny.
And I thought, boy, they're not going to like my dog story.
Doug, nobody likes your Doug
When
story.
you slept
But
with
they
the
hear it
dog.
a lot.
Yeah.
They hear it a lot. It's going to get good. I'm working. I'm working on the fine print.
I did a church like a month ago here in Jersey.
Did you do it as a Christian or did you come out as a Jew?
Well, I did it as myself. Yes. And I was completely clean.
You don't? Do you go into being Jewish at all in your show unless it comes up? I mean, they would know.
Never-
But do you? Do you bring it out?
Yeah, you've
Where-
never
where
heard
do
my
you-
act.
I've heard your act many times, but where do you
You
where
never
do you
listen.
bring it out?
Sometimes I open with it in my opening line. You know, because I'm Jewish. He doesn't even listen.
I
to
know
me
your
on
opening
stage.
line. Are you
He's not,
kidding?
he's not listening to you
I
now.
want to thank you all for coming out and supporting. I also want to especially
but
thank my
sometimes
father. Without whose support, I wouldn't be here. He gave me money for gas.
No, you screw up the joke. You're
He
a
always
joke
does
ruiner.
that. He does that.
It's
I can hear them laughing in Romania.
It's a
It's-
one-liner because you don't. It's a one line. That's why you don't screw it up. My dad really inspired me to get into comedy, and without him, I would not be here because he gave me the gas money to get here.
Okay,
See how much different it is?
that's true.
If you can tell the difference, he'd be getting laughs right now.
Anyway, I don't always bring out anything about my being Jewish. It doesn't always
They
come out.
know, like, what's
can
going
kinda-
on, everybody?
Not a big secret.
Hello, how are you?
You know, I just wanted to talk about how my back hurts.
Welcome to the Doug Max experience.
Oh, I bet you wouldn't know I'm Jewish.
So one of our friends in comedy came to Evan and me, and he said, listen, I want you to do a video. Here's the scene. You're a Jew,
Yeah, it was Greg the Greek.
and he's a Jew. And the two of you are going to be in a store somewhere haggling over price,
Yeah.
and I'm going to be the guy waiting in line behind Evan getting annoyed. So it would be two Jewish comedians pretending to
Two
be old
Jews
Jews,
pretending to be even more
haggling.
Jewish.
pretending to be. What $20? Why do you need 15?
Yeah, exactly. Like you wouldn't ask like black comedians, hey, can you be blacker? You know, you're gonna have a sketch. You know what? We're
Hey,
gonna make
Dougie,
this-
Evan, no insult intended, but can you dial up the Jew until it's like funny?
Can you be more whiny and obnoxious?
No!
We
How
wanna-
could I be whinier?
We want to hate you more. How can we hate you more? We want to kill you. That's what
Hang
we want.
on, how's this? Is that a good voice?
No, put your horns on.
$49.95. Are you insulting me? I catered your daughter's bar mitzvah.
I'm never coming back here again. How dare you do this to me and my family?
So there's only one way to get out of this.
What? The show?
I was going to tell a story, but it's probably inappropriate. I thought it was funny. A woman I told me a story of eating in a kosher deli, and she picked up a paper that was in the deli, and it was like an anti-Semitic paper. And she went to the owner and told him. And he said, I didn't put it out. It must have been one of my customers. She's like, your customers, all your Jewish customers are going to think you're anti-Semitic. And I thought, if that happened to me and I had a restaurant, I'd put a sign on the door that said, Jews, welcome. Wouldn't
Insert
that, if you
laugh
were Jewish,
here.
wouldn't you feel welcomed in a restaurant
Was
that
this
had
a
that?
joke, or-
That was it. That was the whole thing. This is the Doug Max experience. Don't think of it as comedy. Think of it as.
Enlightenment.
Do you feel immersed in it? That's
No.
what I'm trying to do. No,
I want to immerse my head in a
Just don't say oven.
okay, would a plastic bag suffice?
Exactly. I want to immerse myself in a shotgun right now.
Tom, what were you? I feel like I've ruined another show for us.
No, that's your job. That's
That's
what you
the
do.
Doug Max experience.
That's what you do.
So was this when you wanted to do something together? Were you thinking, who can I work with that I'm guaranteed to look funny next to?
I look funny anywhere I go.
How many times has he been on your show?
A few times. You were on my show a few times,
Yeah,
right?
3, 4, 5.
It was always a packed house, right?
When I walk in the room, it's always a packed house.
So how did the New York audience do with him? You recall? Not that you
How'd
listened to
you- how'd
anybody's
you do?
sets.
I did well. I got laughs.
There you go.
I actually used the one of my videos from the Greenwich Village to give to bookers.
Good. And how'd that work?
They don't book me.
I actually have a tape
You
with
lied. You have 400
No,
dates there. You
yeah.
liar.
I actually have a video with Adam, our recently deceased comedian friend.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, he opened. He brought the crowd down to somewhere.
What are you doing?
I was going to give Evan
There's
a little
no
bit more.
toll
He was
booth
good.
here.
I was going to pay him a little bit more money. So, Doc, what countries were listening to us tonight?
Singapore.
Singapore.
We have
Here we go.
Singapore, Australia, Canada, Ireland,
And the Czech Republic.
and the Czech Republic.
Nothing in Germany?
Check, please.
Nothing in Germany.
No,
I
scroll
think they all
down.
got insulted.
Scroll
The
down.
Germans.
Scroll down.
You asked something
Germany
for in
will
Germany?
be there.
Not one German.
Who is that, Ruben?
Yep. You asked something for in Germany?
What's that?
You asked for something in Germany?
Yes.
I
Yes.
was seeing if we had anybody.
9.
Nine.
Oh, come on. 4 times tonight? Somebody's going to.
Same bad joke. Yes.
Let's see.
my
What was
own show,
some of
they
our other
still
big
might
countries? The UK? UK listens to us. We've
How
had
they
Taiwan.
understand us?
Ethiopia follows us, but I think they want to know when Tom will be appearing abroad.
They're hoping I drop
Yes.
crumbs.
They want to feed the country.
Yes, I beat anorexia.
Who?
What?
Stop it!
Two Jews and an Italian experience.
We know who, and
Which
a
one
Jew is
Italian?
not a ethnicity. I'm an American. Evan's an American. Put down 2 Americans and an Italian American.
Yeah.
Jewy? No, Jew.
Okay, just get rid of all of that. Yeah, I don't think this is very funny anymore.
Really?
I'm insulted. I'm
insulted. We're gonna wrap up the show in a minute or 2. That's how upset we are.
I'm
That's
never
right.
having free food from you again.
Okay.
What was the name of that place across the street?
Villa Barone.
You should get them to sponsor.
I should.
We got to approach them next time.
Okay. You should approach them. You're better at approaching people. They see you coming from further away.
From outer space.
Everything is
What are they
energy.
putting-
What was that?
Abby, I know this is you.
We're
We're
morphing.
morphing.
Fine, leave. How about put the name of our show on? Funny Talk with Mongelli. Oh, there it is. Just get rid of
The
experience.
round table. The round host, maybe.
So, radio audience, so you know, all the hubbub was the unprofessional people at hamiltonradio.net.
They're actually trying to make our show funny.
They're trying to help us with the funny, and they've lost us an entire ethnicity, a group of. We've probably lost our Jewish audience.
No, we doubled our Jewish audience. What do you think?
Okay, well, we're at
Now there's
three.
2 people.
Now we're at 3.
3. Yes.
And then they did the we're morphing thing. They think they're being funny.
Uh-huh.
Well, it's good. It's like they're part of the show.
They're learning from you, though.
I don't know why, but this has been
Funny Talk with Mongelli and Max.
and Evan Weiss.
And Evan Weiss.
And Evan Weiss.
Yes. You want me
Spon-
back here next week?
Not next week.
Not next week, we're booked, but so Evan, by the way, probably drove further to be with us on air, and we want to especially thank him.
It's usually 2 hours with no traffic, but it's
It was like
4 hours with afternoon traffic.
Good, Evan. Give us your address.
Center Reach, New York. Long Island, New York.
Long Island Comics. If you don't know Evan Weiss, look him up. He runs an open mic Shakers Club in
Shaker's Pub in Oakdale.
Oakdale, Long Island.
They know me.
and callers. Thank you again.
Yes, and thank you to J. Irwin Productions for putting on excellent shows.
I
And
would love to be on his shows.
For all your comedy entertainment needs, write to Jack at jirwinproductions.com.
And I want to shout out to the Union Cafe, which is where I go for coffee in the morning. I just thought I'd mention.
And I'd like to shout out to
Red Bull.
Dunkin' Donuts. And we'd like to do a shout out to
I want a chair that raises up next time. My butt
to
fell asleep.
DeWalt Power Tools and BMW, the maker of the fine BMW M4.
There you go.
Fitness Plus.
For all your fitness needs.
Retro Fitness is where I go to the gym.
And Manischewitz, fine producers of gefilte fish
Wine.
and whitefish gefilte fish. For all your Passover needs.
My butt is falling asleep and this chair is so low.
So it matches all our listeners.
We're trying to end on a laugh like professional
We're not
comedians
gonna
do.
do
Like
that.
We haven't had one yet. Why start now?
they were laughing back then where they were effing up our show.
Maybe we shouldn't have pasta before the show.
Yeah, really. Too many carbs.
Do you think it was the carbs? Could
Yeah, I
they be?
don't know.
Could they have been making us talk nonsense?
I didn't have pasta.
I had pasta. I had a lot of pasta.
You always have a lot.
And you know what else I tried tonight?
What'd you try tonight?
What did I try tonight?
Being funny?
Think like a comedian. What did I try?
He hasn't tried that yet.
What did I try? Think like a comedian.
You
Try the.
veal.
I tried the veal.
Sure, the veal.
Yeah,
I'm proud of you.
I finally did it.
Well, this has been Tom Mongelli, Doug Max, and Evan Weiss. You've been listening to Funny Talk with Mongelli and Max.
We have no reason why, but we thank you.
Yes, and come back in 2 weeks. We are airing live on the second and fourth Tuesday of every month from Hamilton Studios, Hamilton Radio.
In beautiful downtown Robbinsville, New Jersey.
Pinch me, I'm dreaming. So that's it, guys. Thanks again, and we will see you next time on Funny Talk. Nanu, nanu.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.